Welcome back to the Ant-Man channel. This is Thursday, the 24th of January, 2013, and I'm gonna go read a article here under WorldNet Daily under politics. This particular article has been written by Joe Kovacs, and I always like to read about the publisher because I don't myself go out and look for news. I just read it from reporters. I go onto their websites and I read or they mail me these articles and I read them, and I give them a lot of credit because they're doing a fantastic job reporting the news. Unlike some journalists that work for the corporate dinosaur whore media. Joe Kovacs is an award-winning journalist and since 1999 executive news editor of WorldNet Daily. He is the author of two best-selling books, Shocked by the Bible, The Most Astonishing Facts You've Never Been Told, and its 2012 sequel, The Divine Secret, The Awesome and Untold Truth About Your Phenomenal Destiny. And he writes, Palm Beach, Florida, one day after President Obama delivered his second inaugural address to the nation, top-rated radio host Rush Limbaugh claimed the political powers in office have designed class and race wars to pit Americans against each other. I don't say this lightly. We're in the midst here of designed class and race wars. They're brewing out there. Limbaugh said Wednesday afternoon. All Alex Jones has been going on about all day is about race. Everything's about if you're watching the whore media, everything's about race. Everything's about Muslim this, Christian that, gay this, white that, black this. It's like I don't really get what the color of your skin has to do with your intellect, or what it has to do with your beliefs or your character. It doesn't have anything to do with it. And you have to be completely idiotic to think that has anything to do with anything, man. If you go look at the Brazilian culture, you would see that these people have absolutely no racism in their mind at all. Racism is totally engineered in the United States to get you to think about little Nelly things like pretty much hate one another, like bullcrap. It's all programming. If you're worried about black person this, white person that, you're programmed. You're totally brainwashed, and you worry about nonsense. You worry about things that have nothing to do with anything, man. You have these erroneous thinking about you're erroneously thinking about other people because of the color of their skin. So you think that they have a certain intention because you know how I judge somebody? It's if I see them wearing baggy pants, they're creased up, and they got some Nike Cortezes on, and they got long, slicked back hair, I'll be like, oh, that's a gangster guy, whatever, But if I see somebody trying to imitate that, you know what I mean? And it's never it's ridiculous nowadays, the culture of imitating gangbangers, and they do absolutely horrible jobs at it. And not only that, but you're trying to imitate people who, you're talking about criminology or being a criminal in general. These little low-level gangbangers think that they know about criminal activity. They think they know about what real criminals do. Real criminals look into eugenics. They run nations. They run a lot of things that go on with our daily lives. Oil, all the things that are in the stock market, petroleum, whatever it is that is being marketed. The real criminals are the ones that know how to play the system, the markets, and politicians, and have money most of the time. Because money can do very terrible things to people if you use it the wrong way. But referring to Obama's speech, Limbaugh said the President of the United States was filled with venom for his political opponents, and there are 60-some-odd million of them who voted against him. It's not just the Republicans in Washington. There are 67 million Americans who voted against Obama, and he declared war against them, too. He declared war against Republicans and, by extension, anybody who voted for them. During his address to the nation, Obama said, "We do not believe that this country freedom is reserved for the lucky or happiness for the few. We recognize that no matter how responsibly we live our lives, Any one of us at any time may face a job loss, or a sudden illness, or a home swept away in a terrible storm. The commitments we make to each other through Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, these things do not sap our initiative, they strengthen us. They do not make us a nation of takers, they free us to take the risks that make this country great. We the people still believe that our obligations as Americans are not just to ourselves but to all posterity. We will respond to the threat of climate change. Oh God. Knowing that the failure to do so would betray our children and future generations. The only thing that I'm afraid about when it comes to our children and future generations is Mr. Barack Obama and the Democrats that run this country right now. I mean, this is... climate change is an absolute joke, you guys. I mean, you guys, anyone who believes in that is just being... they're attacking us on every front. Health, politics, faith, education. Everywhere you look, there's an attack. But, I'm sorry about that. I really hate my phone. It just goes off all the time and it's nobody. Anyway, let's see. What was I saying? See, I lost my thread thanks to the phone. But anyway. Oh yeah, anyway, yeah, what's really the danger to your children and the future generations of humanity are these control freaks that are trying to wipe God off the face of the earth and make it just, hell on earth here. Let's see. Some may still deny the overwhelming judgment of science, but none can avoid the devastating impact of raging fires and crippling drought and more powerful storms. Limbaugh noted, "We've got the biggest domestic challenge this country's faced in a long time under the guise of fixing all of these horrors that went on in our past. We're heading right back to them. We are reconstructing those horrors under the guise of fixing it all finally. There is a giant deception taking place." Duh! And you're hearing this from Rush Limbaugh, corporate whore establishment garbage media. But my point here is that it has never worked and it isn't going to work here. This country breeds people who want to be good, to be the best, who want prosperity. It breeds them, Limbaugh continued. At some point, people are going to awaken and demand better and realize that it's going to be up to them. And the longer this goes on, the more it's going to be demonstrated that all these promises are empty. And all this talk about everybody getting a fair shot and hard work, it's not going to happen. And it's going to get uglier before it gets better. But it's what was elected. Absolutely. For people who are asleep and in a coma, they vote for Barack Obama because they put him on the media platform that he's the cool black president that, we've never had. And that, they try to make him like you even see the guy in tabloids. I mean, why is the president in tabloids like he's a reality TV show star? Like the media is trying to give him all this credibility like he's this cool president. He's this athletic. The media is a very it's very it influences the young, the children. You know what I mean? Put it this way: your kids are thrown into public schools where they have to give in. It's not that they have to, because I didn't. I found another way, but your kids are faced with peer pressure because the yuppies let their children watch MTV all day. So their children are a bunch of wannabe gangbanger, dumbed down, dribbling morons. And there's a bunch of them. They all stick together in the public schools. And you guys out there that have kids that are Christian and they have moral value and they honor things of value, those kids are going to have to be around those kids, and they're going to have to deal with the peer pressure of giving into the trendy and normal thing. And then if you don't, then you're labeled a weirdo, and you're a weird kid because you're not cussing and you're not gangbanging and doing all this ridiculous nonsense. So this peer pressure that these kids give into, then it's established at a young age. Like they throw it, the media throws this at you at a young age so that your kids are Obama supporters, gangbangers, morons. You know what I mean? They listen to they're yuppies. You know what I mean? Their parents don't discipline them. They watch MTV all day, so they say yes to everything. They conform to everything. They don't have real wisdom or understanding of what your choices, how your choices pave your way to what you're going to eventually become, So they get you when you're young. And then when you're, it really makes you realize how many yuppies there are when your president is still Barack Obama, because there's so many people who voted for him. But then again, there's election fraud, so you never know how many people really voted for him. You don't even know if the people who go to his rallies are even real people, because they could be paid off. You never know. Like the Mitt Romney supporters that went to his rallies were paid off by him. And then you had Ron Paul giving rallies of thousands and thousands of people going and marching and holding signs and just getting the grassroots back in this country to take back our country and our government and all this, like, people who are making a real change, and then they get blacked out by the media. And then it's like Gandhi said, first they ignore you and then they laugh at you. That's exactly what's going on. But that's a scary thing at the same time, because first they ignored us. First they said Alex Jones didn't exist. And now they're saying that Alex Jones is dangerous because he has too big of a platform and that he has a big, he has a big influence on everyone. And you know what I mean? He went from not existing to being laughed at as a conspiracy theorist. I mean, it's freaking hilarious. But then, it's the same thing. I mean, you start to realize the characteristics and the trends of these liberals. They either giggle at you or they shoot insults at you, and they think that they're so credible that just won them the argument. That, oh, Big Bang Theory this, we're monkeys that, so I win, ha ha ha. It's like, I don't care what your politically correct nonsense is, dude. I know what is real, and I don't need you to tell me. And it's just asinine, man. It's hilarious, the act that they put on these days to try to manipulate you to thinking their way. It's pretty fun.